This is Jason,
This is Chad.
and this is Please Pass the Bacon. All right.
So, who are you, fella?
Well, let's start with Chad. Welcome.
Thank you, Jason. Welcome as well, yourself.
Do you say welcome to somebody that you're doing the podcast with, or do you just say...
Yeah, well, I'm in your studio, so you can welcome me here, I guess.
Okay, there you go.
Welcome everyone else.
yeah.
Welcome everyone else. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, welcome to Please Pass the Bacon.
Now, Jason.
Yes.
Can I call you Jason?
Yes.
You're a cop. I'm a cop.
Yes.
We have a podcast called Please Pass the Bacon.
That's
Now, this
right.
is interesting because we were talking about a podcast, and we want to know what we're going to call it, and then poof, right out of your mouth,
Please pass the bacon. I tell you what, before we even get into that, how about we'll start with I'm Jason Peets. I have been a police officer in North Carolina for coming up 19 years. Chad?
Yeah, Chad Webster. I've been at the same department coming up on 18 years.
That's right. So now back to the elephant.
In the room, or the pig on the griddle.
Yeah, elephant in the room. Please pass the bacon. So I guess that we would have to kind of start with why we wanted to start the podcast. And I think we were both drawn to, I don't want to overuse this term, but some type of humanizing of police officers, because we get so caught up in media coverage of all the negative, because people do see that, and I get that. Mm-hmm. That's how they're making their money. Agree or disagree, that's how they have to
that's how they're getting their viewers, and that's
Right.
bottom line. That's what they're in the business of.
So we wanted to try to impact the perceptions of police through our own narratives out there.
Right, and I think you and I, as coordinators, day in and day out, we strive to do the positive things that aren't going to be on the news, that aren't going to be as exciting and dangerous, but yet we're trying to do the good that an officer can do.
Right, and to get those, because just by nature, police officers don't. There's a lot of altruism that comes with our profession. People truly do get drawn to the profession to do good things. Not for the recognition, but just to do good things for people, whether that's to protect people, whether that's to, maybe they're the adrenaline, there is a certain amount of adrenaline that comes with this job, and there are people drawn to it for that. And
it's cliched, but if you ask 100 officers why they became an officer, you're going to get a very high percentage of those in the 90s probably that say they want to make a difference or they want to do good.
Do good things.
Yeah.
Whether that's protect people, whether that's, however you want to, spin it your way, it's altruistic. So to do something like this is not something that comes natural to police, but because you heard Chad say that we're coordinators, that basically means we deal with the public in a different way. We're not typically dealing with the community in crisis necessarily. They're not calling 911 and we're showing up after there's been a robbery necessarily, but we are dealing with it on the community meeting end, dealing with businesses. We do a lot of work with the schools, and so we
make connections. Really, it's more of a personal
That's right.
relationship as opposed to 911 call answering.
Right, and we see, I think the way we've tried to paint this picture for people listening is, if you took a bell curve and you took that curve and drew a horizontal line through, let's say, halfway up that bell curve, maybe a little lower than that, but say halfway up, everything north of that line, but on both sides of that bell curve, whether you're a staunch supporter of police on the right side there or on the left side there, where you
just can't stand us.
Well, or you just you do have more questions about our actions, or maybe you just naturally don't trust police, but you're not on the bottom fringes below that horizontal line on the left or right, where
that's the love us or hate us.
Well, yeah, that's the
black
police
and white.
Can never do wrong versus the far the other side of that is police can never do right. Like, there's nothing you could say to those parts of the bell curve to sway them either way. And that's not our target. I don't think that's our target audience. I think
Not at all.
I think what we have found is based on our experience, and this is not necessarily going to be a big stats podcast.
No, from in my opinion, there's 3 kinds of lies, Jason. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. And I want to stay away from them.
Yes, because we all know that statistics can be beneficial, but for this purpose, we're kind of looking
tangible.
Well,
real.
Well, if you've got this platform that you want to, speak from, and it's versus this platform over here. Well, this platform is going to get the statistics that support their platform, and then this side is going to do the same. So it just gets into, like I said, more number crunching than it is just having real dialogue.
Correct.
Real stories, meeting real people. And that's kind of what we want to use the podcast for, is to connect with people through stories, through
personal experiences, through
and then to go back to that, when we do have these meetings, we have just found that the majority of the public is either 100% with us, when we're doing good things, and they even see when there are questionable things that they're willing to hear why these things have happened. So again, we're not looking to reach the parts of that bell curve that you can't sway.
Fringes,
the extreme fringes on either side. That's not our intended goal.
You who is listening right now, you're who we're wanting to get connected with.
Yeah. So
please pass the bacon, huh?
yes. So so we took a long time to circle back to that, but please pass the bacon. So please, it's
That's
respectful.
a very polite.
It's polite. It's respectful. And that's what with this space we want it to be, is a respectful way to either discuss things or tell stories to our listeners.
To agree and to disagree.
To agree and to disagree. And if for some reason we got somebody on the show that they have a differing viewpoint, then they've got a differing viewpoint.
Right.
We can give our side and they can give their side. But in the end, it's respectful dialogue.
So please, yes.
So please pass the bacon. Share, right?
Right.
Please pass the bacon.
And bacon.
Who doesn't love bacon?
And I can't speak for
I know
everybody.
What you're gonna say,
but
even vegans,
even people that choose not to eat it, probably love bacon.
At least love the smell. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just kind of a way to show that we have a lot more in common than we do different. And so
and the bacon could be whatever we're talking about, passing back and forth.
Yeah, it doesn't have to literally be bacon, even though.
But Jason, you bring up a good point here.
Well, it's not I'm bringing it up, but it's not my idea. It was not my idea.
Well, we're not here to point fingers at ourselves. But at the end of each episode, we will be rating different bacon. I mean, let's. Oh man, I can smell it already.
Which Chad is going to cook up before the end of this episode, and we will.
Do you mind if I tell you what we're going to be reviewing this show?
No, go ahead.
Today's is Black Label Double Smoked.
Sounds fantastic.
That's going to be. We'll let you know what we think at the end of the show.
There's another benefit of being a guest on the show. You're going to come into a room that's going to smell like bacon. Good stuff.
And you get to partake if you want.
Sure.
And I'd love to, since we're going to be passing the bacon, I'd love to hear what they think about whatever bacon we're reviewing.
Yeah. Good stuff. So I guess that gives you a little insight as to kind of why we chose the name. We completely understand and recognize that using bacon as a reference, or in the same context of a conversation that involves police officers, can be looked down upon.
It's a touchy term.
But what our goal with that is to also kind of take some ownership of that word of bacon.
Right. Instead of running away from it,
embrace it.
Taking it head on and embracing it.
Embrace it and take the energy out of it. Because if it's like when we get picked on as a kid. If you pick on your little brother, the only time they're going to continue to do that is if they get a reaction, right?
Right.
If they get some kind of reaction, they rile you up. They're going to continue to do it. As soon as you make it a nothing burger, they stop doing it. So maybe
And nobody wants a nothing burger.
nobody wants a nothing
God,
burger.
that sounds horrible.
Bacon burger, yeah. Nothing burger.
Now we're talking.
Nah. All right, so you are a cop,
I am a cop.
but not just a cop.
No, I have a family. I have
Yeah.
a wife and kids, a house, responsibilities.
And there's a couple of things you got going on that are not typical, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
One would involve writing.
Right. I'd love to write.
Okay. So tell me about what you've gotten published to this point. A children's author, not something you would typically think you would find.
Probably not. But I do have 2 books that have been published. They're available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. I can say that now. You ready for the title of this, Jason?
Yes, sir.
And I do catch a little flack from the other cops about this, so don't laugh at me.
Okay.
Mystery Muffin and Soda Pop Sleuth. That's
Okay.
the name of the series.
And that is, Sleuth, not Sleuth, Sleuth, but Sleuth because that is Soda Pop's last name,
Right,
correct?
right. So Mystery Muffin is a officer's daughter.
Yep.
That's not her real name. That's her nickname. And then Soda Pop, that's his nickname as well. And they solve neighborhood mysteries.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, based on conversations we've had, that your kids have been a little bit of a
Inspiration.
inspiration for you, right?
Absolutely. And the first book is called Mystery Muffin and Soda Pop Sleuth, The Legend of Mr. Creepy.
I've read them both, so
Yeah, so you know that. And then the second one is Mystery Muffin and Soda Pop Sleuth, The Ghost of Crippler's Creek. That was scary.
yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I should have probably done that while you were saying the title. So we're working on timing.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that you've recently embarked on,
Yes.
and
yes.
it's been getting some coverage in
It
on
has.
some news outlets.
It has. It's a little.
And it's actually kind of a tie-in to this podcast in a way.
I'd agree.
The bacon response team,
The Bacon Response Team consists of myself,
Chad
the cop,
Webster.
Chad Webster, the cop, and my 2 pig buddies.
Which are therapy pigs, correct?
Yeah, when I say pig, I mean the actual animal.
Yes.
They are pet pigs that live in our house with my wife and children.
With the intended goal to be therapy pigs.
Right. Which, and we've been talking about trying to, connect with the community. We will be taking these pigs to schools, to churches, to hospitals, to other community events. I plan on bringing them with me to work sometime for events there as another tool and another way to engage the community.
And connect with the community.
Bottom line.
Yeah, I think that the public is, to kind of go along those lines of connecting with the community. We just had that lip sync video.
We did.
And what was our reaction first? When
Well,
because we were asked, hey,
We were asked.
we want you guys to help out with this. And what was our
So-
first reaction in like appropriate language, of course?
We are in our office where I have my email pulled up. I'm looking at you, and I say, Jason, we are not doing this, correct?
And the answer was absolutely not.
We are not doing this. Click, click, click. Oh, look, Jason, there's
look.
an email from our chain.
All of our superiors.
Hey, guys, you mind heading this up for us? And we did.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just do what you're told, and
then-
you make the best of it.
That's right. But we did find that we certainly didn't expect every police officer we know to be all on board with that. No. And I get it. I get both sides of that. I get both sides that are like, why are we doing lip sync videos? We need to do police work. And I don't disagree with that.
Right.
And we didn't look at it as a way to supplant police work with a lip sync video. It was just, we saw it. I think why we finally got on board and felt like it was going to be a good thing was we saw it as a way to do some work on the front end about connecting with the community, in a non-crisis situation to try to make it a little easier down the road if another police incident occurs that involves,
Which it will.
which is, it's going to happen, some kind of use of force, that we've built some trust and some humanization back into our department.
Well,
So
I think it's nice for people to see, hey, yes, they need to be in uniform. They need to be intimidating. They need to be able to take control of a situation. But guess what? They can also have fun. They're lighthearted. They're people.
They're people who have so many diverse backgrounds. So many diverse backgrounds. I mean, my gosh, children's author. You don't look at many cops. I don't know of another police officer who is a children's author.
And when we say children, my target audience is 8 to 12, 8 to 14. And I'm sorry to tell you, Jason, but the next book is not going to have any pictures in it either.
Okay.
So
Good enough.
don't be looking for pictures.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So we would like to use this platform to reach out and introduce to the public some pretty interesting police officers with some pretty diverse backgrounds outside of police work.
Right. And we just talked about this the other day, that typically we're in uniform for 40, 41 hours a week. Well, there's a whole rest of that week of stuff that we're doing that may have nothing to do with police work whatsoever.
Yep. And I guess that's kind of my story, is I definitely didn't do anything before I came onto the department that would have made you think I was going to be a cop.
Same here.
Let's say. So, going back to high school, wrestling was my thing. Get to college, there was no wrestling team. But I still wanted to be active. Long story short, I ended up becoming a college cheerleader.
So wrestler
to college cheerleader.
Now, as a college cheerleader, they didn't have any of the sports you were interested in. So what sort of things were you cheering for?
Well, men's basketball. We didn't have football, but then we were a competitive program.
So you were competing against
we were competing
other
college programs around the country, and every spring, I guess. But then when I left there, went on to coach that same program for 13 years, and then in 2000. It was time to, along the way, I was a bartender, a group health insurance salesman, you name it, all kinds of odds and ends. It was time to make a career. So kind of later in life is when I came on as a police officer, with the background of
cheerleader.
Cheerleading.
How old were you when you came on the department?
I was 30.
So you were even older than me. I was 27.
Yep, I was 30. So pretty awkward times there early in the academy when everybody's going around and introducing themselves. And
hey,
I served
Peets,
in the military.
I
was a ranger. I was,
I was a tough guy.
I came in with vice experience from a department in South Carolina.
You say,
I tried to avoid saying unless I was directly asked, and I don't remember what that time was. But yeah, I college cheerleading coach. Because at the time I was still a college cheerleading coach and had just started actually an all-star cheerleading gym about 5 months before I started the academy.
So you had a lot going on.
So there was a lot going on, yeah. And so to this day, still, for the same amount of time, been a police officer and have owned an all-star cheerleading gym for 19 years, coming up on 19 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Did I tell you what I did before I became a cop?
Well, I already know one of the things you did. You cleaned pools.
Well, I didn't clean pools, but I worked in a retail pool and spa store.
I think it's a better picture for me to think of you cleaning pools.
Because you want to picture me with my shirt off.
Yes.
Drinking by the pool.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's not how it was. I was in the office doing customer service, selling pool chemicals and testing water.
Gotcha.
So definitely not
cleaning pools
or anything that you would believe would lead me to police work.
Yeah. I got a degree in English.
I have some college.
You've got some credit hours.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay.
to several
See,
different
you've been on a
ones.
campus.
Yes.
There you go. Good work.
Thank you.
So I think part of the motivation or at least for me, wanting to connect, I draw on that experience when we had the protests back in our city
Right.
that were born from a police use of force incident.
And we
Right.
said this, I'm just jump in real quick. We said this off the air that following that incident, there were protests and there were riots.
Correct.
So those are not necessarily the same thing.
No, it would be fair to say that there was a mix of both.
Correct.
People that were peacefully protesting, along with the people who turned those, it's in some cases into riots. Yes,
Yes.
fair enough. But during that time, I think that was a tough time to be a police officer because you were only getting negative stories.
Social media was flooded with misinformation
terrible.
and painting us in an extremely bad light.
Right. But the community, I know the community reached out to us and said, hey, will you come to, I think it was at a local YMCA, will you come to our group and talk to them? I got a bunch of young kids and they just need to talk.
Yeah.
And so we went in uniform and talked, and you started to realize that even these kids who initially were very apprehensive or very scared, we got to connect with them on a human level, and we started to realize that going back to that bell curve, as we were all on that bell curve, maybe some of this group was on the opposite side of where we were at that point, but they were willing to listen, and we all shared the same thing. We want to feel safe. We want to feel loved. We want to feel a part of something, and we all share that. We don't always share the way that we need to get to that. Like, we don't always share.
Right. But the end game.
Yeah, the end. We all want the same end. We don't always agree on the same means to get there, right? And
Those were some good kids.
They were great kids.
And you know what I think was good for them was to see us. We didn't go in there and say, I'm Officer Peets and you're going to listen to the words I say.
Sure.
It was, hey, I'm Jason Peets. My name's not Officer.
Right.
And hey, let's have some dialogue.
Right. And so that's when I started to think too, like how great it would have been. But there was so much negative media exposure. But we behind the scenes had so much support. People bringing meals, constantly bringing food and stuff to the offices across the whole city, and that was awesome. I wanted to see it take a step further, and I just wish that with that same support, that was out there, could have been more vocal. And I understand it's not easy to do.
Right. It would have been nice to see that support rise up to the same power that the negative stuff.
Like if 10, 20,000 people just said, hey, we're going to meet at Marshall Park or down at the stadium or something, and it's going to be middle of the day, and we're just going to sit there for 30 minutes. That's it. Just enough time to have a large number of people show up in one place and support. Mm-hmm. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, hey, we're here because we love what you guys are doing.
Right.
Protecting our city. Thank you.
Right. So it's like we got the silent support, which was fantastic. But we were starving for some visual support that the media would want to cover to kind of combat that.
And unfortunately, a lot of times those things are not about the truth, and that doesn't help us. What truly happened isn't what necessarily people are after. For some reason, we love.
Well, we're in an age of instant gratification,
right. And we love to hear the good guy gone bad too. For some reason,
sure,
that's a big appeal.
But I don't think you could talk to a good police officer and have him not want to get behind any action that was not justified. Like true, after an investigation.
Well, we hate it more than the public because it puts us all in that light. It puts us at
more risk, and it sheds a negative light on an entire profession.
We're very hard on ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to all be on the same page when it comes to, actions that are not justified, right?
Right.
But that takes time, and that's that's a whole different conversation. But that's not going to be an instant gratification. Investigations take long times. There's just a lot
there's a lot of information you can't give out because an
Correct.
investigation is still ongoing.
without tainting a case. Exactly.
And just because someone grabs their phone and says, "I'm on
This is what
social
happened."
media live, and this
Right.
is what I just saw happen," people take that as gospel,
Right.
And that is dangerous.
Which brings us back to why we want to do this podcast,
Please
and that is
pass
the bacon. We want to try to get people to understand that we are humans doing a job, that we are not, it's not like when you're a little kid, right? Do you remember? I do. I remember this.
That long ago?
Yeah, I remember that long ago.
Back when you had to comb your hair before you went to school.
That's correct.
I'm
That's
referencing
correct.
his lack of hair now.
Yes. So I am bald, just so you know. In full disclosure, I am bald.
Proud of you for taking that head
thanks.
on and embracing
See?
that.
See, I'm owning it. See?
What's the point?
Now
of
you can't
picking
make
on
fun
him
of
now?
me, right?
I mean, I can, but it's not satisfying.
Well,
okay, so you're back. You're a
You're,
kid.
you're in elementary school, and you are at the grocery store, and you look. There's your teacher.
Which is a
You're like,
foreign environment for your
You're like,
teacher
what?
at that age.
What are you doing here?
Aren't
Don't
you grading
live
our
at the
papers?
school? Like, yeah, it was really weird to see, right?
Yeah, because they seemed out of place.
It seemed out of place. Now I can't remember why I started that part of the story.
Well, because when you see an officer out of their uniform, do you know how many people don't recognize us? Oh, I didn't recognize you in your civilian attire. It's very shocking. We can look like completely different people because we see the uniform, we don't necessarily see a person.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's where I was going with that.
Well,
but
that's where I went. So maybe you should have taken a note in your elderly
Man.
state.
yeah. Yeah, that's a problem.
It's that bacon smells delicious. That's got to be throwing you off. Did you
Oh,
not
man.
eat enough dinner? That could be the problem.
No, I definitely ate enough dinner. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's what we want to do is build the trust and connections. Really, the connections with the community.
That's
I think
what we
connections.
crave. Yeah.
Because that's what I craved then. I craved that connection with community at that point. Because we felt so isolated and alienated from the community.
Absolutely.
But yet we still felt like in going to these meetings that bell curve, that upper half of that bell curve, both sides of it, that we were all on the same page. But because of so much negative coverage, the community wasn't. It was almost like people were still just sitting back, waiting to make their judgment on our police actions at that point.
Yeah. And I like it when you talk about the bell curve. Guys, he's doing this little thing with his hand so I can see which part of the bell curve he's talking about. It's a very nice movement. So thank
Thanks.
you for drawing that picture in the air with your hands.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Now that's how you knock someone off the rail. Where were you going?
I don't think I was really going anywhere, honestly, at that point.
Yeah, I think you
I think we're just trying to give people an idea of why
connection.
why we're
bottom
doing
line.
this.
Yeah.
To connect with people, and we're hopefully going to do it with some interesting people. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, heck, the reason why we're sitting here today is hopefully going to be one of our first guests. Would be the guy who helped us
Come up with
not helped us. The guy who said to us,
why don't you two do podcast? I could see that. But he doesn't sound anything like that.
yeah, I think he's from somewhere up in the
I
Northeast.
changed his voice to protect his privacy.
for anonymity.
Yes.
Yep. So
Yeah, which was kind of interesting because we really had no...
it wasn't on the radar.
Right. We knew we wanted to do something, and we just didn't know how we were going to do it or what it was going to look like. And when he said, you guys should do a podcast. You guys do good stuff together, which he's seen...
Yeah,
a lot of the video stuff
like
that we've done.
Police parody videos where we put out crime tips using celebrities. We do quite a bit of, we call them docu-minutes for Instagram.
Just a minute of what's going on.
A minute of what's going on that day, whether it's a backpack drive or a kids eat free at the hospital over
or
the
reading to kids,
Right.
whatever it is. Just,
bears behind the badge.
it's just I think in this day and age, sometimes it's cool to watch just a quick little video about something that's going on than it is to click on that link that says 2-minute read. It's just a different way. And I think that before, police didn't have that platform. And now we do. So I think we were trying to capitalize on that.
And we just didn't ever think of podcast as an avenue for that. And this is nothing. We're not representing a department or anything
Or a
like
city,
that.
an agency, or anything.
Right. We just felt like getting some good stories out there, outside of our professional world was an important.
And to be quite honest, I do have a face for podcasting.
Yeah. Faces for radio here.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thanks. I wrote that last night.
Yeah. Original.
Dun-dun-dun. Oh, that
Bum.
sounds like bacon sizzling.
So
That's us.
that's us. This is us.
The-
Saddest show on television. I can't watch it.
Never watched it.
I can't watch it. My wife watches it. I can't do it. It's too sad for me.
We see enough.
Yeah.
Well, we used to.
Enough real.
You know what? Hey, can we circle back around to you for a second?
Yes, sir.
Now, I know this is hard to fathom for maybe some of you, but you went from cheerleading to being a SWAT sniper. Is that correct?
That's right.
So I know one cheerleading SWAT sniper, and that's you, Jason Peets.
And I know one, and I'm going to say it, children's book author, police officer.
Me.
That's you. That's right. Yeah, so SWAT sniper, and I was a fugitive detective for about 8 years.
Now that's literally chasing down the bad guys.
Yeah, like growing up hide and seek. Good gig.
Yeah.
Good group of guys. Great unit.
Tough guys. I mean, that's dangerous work.
It was dangerous work, but good. A good solid group.
So when you're cheerleading at college,
Okay.
you never saw yourself as a sniper chasing down bad guys like this?
I can't say I did. I didn't have a lot of focus for a long time.
Well, obviously.
Like I went to college, and I think I chose my degree based on what came easily to me.
You know what I find it interesting? That you're the English major, and I'm the writer.
But
By the
I
way,
am your editor.
Yes, thank you. You are my front line.
Front
You
line.
and my wife are the front line for helping me not write stupidity.
Well, we
Or at least making it sound more gooder when you read it.
more gooder, exactly.
Yeah, that's not good English.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Thanks.
It's our podcast. Weird, huh?
I do. Oh, that's good stuff there.
No, we were not really your editor, but we certainly did read both of them to the kids, and they loved the books. And I'm not just saying that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the work that you guys did it. And as a matter of fact, in the second book, I actually gave a little shout out to the Peets family.
Yeah, I got my name in the whatever that's called in the beginning.
The
Acknowledgements.
Acknowledgements.
Yeah.
No picture of you though. So
Yeah, maybe the third book.
Maybe we'll work on that. We can be reached. We're not going to have a phone number for you guys, but we do have an email. It's pleasepassthebaconpodcast@gmail.com. And Jason and I both have access to this email, and we will.
Yeah,
well,
if you've
I
got
won't
questions
read
or
them. You'll read them, right?
questions, topics that you may want to hear us talk about. I don't know, because I think our plan is to maybe reach out to our first guest here sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Which I think is going to be maybe Mike. I
think Mike will do it.
I think Mike will do it because one, it was his idea.
And of course, why would we not
We're
grant him the honor of being number one?
Right. We're working New Year's Eve, right? Special assignment. Not expecting much, and here he is out of the blue. You guys should do a podcast. We're like, what are you talking about?
Hey,
He's
can I say something a little funny about that night?
Yeah.
So we
But
didn't.
don't get me off topic because I'm
just-
going to forget.
Just stay with it, all right?
Yeah.
So he walks up to us, and he's wearing
His traffic
traffic vest. We're like, Mike, what are you doing? He's like, I forgot my badge. I just put put my vest over it. Now, Mike, don't kill us for that. Come on, we've all done something like that, but dude, that was funny.
It wasn't his gun. It was his badge.
He had his gun. Okay, so there he is. We see him. Special assignment. I just put you back on track. And go.
Yep, I'm off track now. I'm thinking about Mike not having a badge.
I know what I'll do. I'll cover it up with my traffic vest.
It worked.
Ah, that was brilliant.
You don't see it, so.
Yeah.
No, but having Mike on there, I think, would be a good first guest. Because not only is he's been a detective for 15 years, sexual assault detective, but he writes manuscripts.
Does movies, short films, yeah.
Actor, so not something that you would typically think of as
not at all. And
something a cop does outside of work.
And he's devastatingly handsome.
He's devilishly handsome, yes.
He's got good hair, good face, good skin.
He does have good hair.
Ah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I think he works out too.
But I tell you, I'll be honest, if they cured baldness tomorrow, I don't think I'd go back.
No, I
don't
I'm
think
going to
I'd
tell
go back.
you
It's
what.
too much work.
You rock it. I think I have all this hair, this beautiful
Your locks?
blocks sticking up, but I couldn't rock the hairless thing. I think my head is misshapen.
Everybody says that.
You look good, especially for a 74-year-old.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Thanks, I wrote that with the
Yeah,
bald one last
another
night.
original.
Didn't.
Another original by Chad Webster.
Bacon.
Oh, cool. Is it
Or
that
water.
time?
I think it is time. Can we have? Who's the young lady over here? Man, it's a nice young lady you have there. Could you bring us the bacon?
Are you going to really cook the bacon?
Yeah.
Well, then get to it.
Like for real?
I mean, I don't know. Are we going to review bacon?
We are going to review bacon.
Are you going to cook it?
It's cooked. Here we go. And I know we've talked about this off air. Here,
All right.
would you like me to pass you the bacon?
Thank you. All right.
Oh my God. I think this is delicious.
I'm going to try to talk when you're not talking so we don't have to hear you chew.
You know I hate listening
know.
to people eat.
Right. I'm not a fan
Chew.
either.
You know what else?
So what do you think?
This is good. This is double smoked.
Double smoked. What's the brand?
This is Hormel Black Label.
Hormel Black Label double smoked. Good? I like it.
It's
I'm
good.
going to be honest, though. I'm not. So I had a partner who was a big barbecue fan. Big barbecue fan.
So you ate a lot of barbecue when you guys were working
Ate
together?
a lot of barbecue, and he was a connoisseur. Like, I would eat it, I'm a sauce guy. So it all kind of just tasted like pork.
So what the sauce kind of made it for
Yes.
you? Okay.
The sauce is what makes
And
it
he
for
had
me.
a very sophisticated palate for
very
smoked
much
meat.
like the burnt ends and all these ins and outs of it. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 strips. 3.5 strips.
Okay.
Just because of the smoked. I'm not a huge smoked meat guy.
All right. I'm giving this 4 strips.
4 strips.
Because
That's big time.
I am.
You're not leaving yourself a lot of
I
wiggle
know.
room for future bacon.
Then that should tell you
Critique.
how fond I am of this bacon.
Okay, good deal. Well, there you have it.
No, maybe we'll see if there's a single smoked and see how you stack that up against the double smoked.
We sure could.
And if you guys have any suggestions about unique or different bacons other than turkey, I'd like to stick with pig bacon myself.
I think you got to open up the door.
You do?
Yep.
What about
You could do tofu bacon.
that's what I was just going to say.
Why not?
Okay. Yeah, well, if you guys think there's something we should try and you'd like to hear us review it, please let us know. Email us at pleasepassthebacon@podcast.
Try that again.
Okay, go.
Please pass the
bacon podcast@gmail.com.
There you go. And that's going to be, a wrap for our first
That's it.
episode, our maiden episode, as we put it in the calendar, our maiden podcast
did.
episode.
And Jason, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And Chad, thanks for coming out this late on a school night.
Yeah, and thank you to all of you who have listened to this nonsense.
And we'll see you next time here on Please
Pass the Bacon.
Bum. This episode of Please Pass the Bacon has been brought to you by Victory Nutrition International. Victory Nutrition offers supplements that are made from premium quality ingredients, and they've also got science to back their products. They've got tons of clinicals that actually are peer-reviewed in scientific literature, and they stand out because they've got products that really work. Victory Nutrition International, nutrition that gets in. To order your Victory Nutrition, just go to vni.life/victoryathletics.